What's going on, you guys? Dark Saint here, bringing you guys another video talking to you guys about the Division. In this video, we're going to be going over how to build some of the best tank builds in the game. We're going to talk about 3 different builds. These are the best builds in the game. We're going to talk about the benefits of running them, the negative aspects of running them, and where they fit into the game. So, let's take a look at what we got. Now, for the first tank build that we're going to take a look at, we're going to look at a tank among tanks. This person, whoever it may be, is going to be extremely difficult to kill. Mainly because whatever his health is, it's going to double. Whether it be 100,000, 120,000, 150,000, 200,000, it doesn't matter. It will double that health. So, what you will need for this is going to be 4 Nomads and 2 Final Measure. The Final Measure will give you the 50% exotic damage resilience, which will be needed on pretty much every tank in this game from now on, as the exotic damage resilience is pretty much guaranteed to be on a tank if you're going to consider yourself a tank. The other one we're going to look at is the 4 Nomads. Unfortunately, the Nomads does have scavenging on it by an increase of 100%, which sounds pretty cool, but unfortunately scavenging is not working as it is intended. And it is supposed to increase the quality of the items that you get, but there's not a big change in what you're going to get whether you have it on or not. So you don't really have to worry too much about the scavenging of it. What we are looking at, however, is a 20% health back on kill. That's without comboing it with any other health back that you might get from your weapon or your other armor pieces. Let's say, for example, your gas mask or your chest armor or anything like that. You combo that health back on kill plus the 20% health back on kill, and as a tank running 200,000 health or 150,000 health, whatever it is that you're running, getting 20% of that back, 30% of that back, 40% of that back, that's a lot of health to be getting back from one simple kill that you can get from an AI or really anything that you run across. The other thing that we're going to look at with the Nomads is going to be the final talent, which allows you to regenerate all of your health. So for whatever reason, somebody's finally able to take you down, whether it be focus fire after you got hit with a shock turret, or some crazy fluke of the enemies like pushed you into some AIs and the AIs caught you on fire, or something happened. The final ability, rather than killing you, will regenerate all of your health. So if you have 150,000 health and somehow you're able to go down, you're going to get all 150 health points back and still have all of your toughness and all of your armor. Now, of course, this is limited by the fact that the Nomad only regenerates once every 10 minutes. However, that 10 minutes will pass by pretty quickly, especially considering you're probably not going to die anyway. It's just a bonus of having that, making it to where you basically double all of your health once every 10 minutes, of course. Now, for PvE, I would recommend the Overdose ability comboed with the Seeker Mine with Gas Charge. The First Aid Overdose will allow you to keep your health up at all times. However, if you're running with a medic, that might be overlooked for something else. Say something like the mobile cover or something like that, a riot shield, something you can put out in front of you to give you that much more health. Now, the other one that you're going to want to run is the Seeker Mine with Gas Charge, as you'll be able to run out up on enemies in the Dark Zone or in any challenge mode and stun them, and that will allow your other players that are doing damage to be able to put out the damage that they need to without having to worry about the enemy shooting them. So you'll be catching most of the bullets, and you'll be able to stun the enemies that you could come near with your Seeker Mine with Gas Charge. Now, as for PvP, this is where the negative aspects come in with this build. The negative side of this build is you are not going to be able to put out a lot of damage. Neither the Nomad nor the Final Measure are going to do anything for you as far as putting out damage, regardless of the weapon that you have. Now, the weapon I recommend would be an LMG, as you're not going to be able to put out a lot of damage per bullet, so you might as well have a bunch of bullets. So I would recommend a heavy magazine LMG to just put out a crap ton of bullets in order to make up for the loss of damage that you're going to have. Of course, you can also combo this with a shotgun, as hitting a shotgun with the one is none talent will allow you to sustain fire with the shotgun in PvE as well. Now, as for PvP, because you're not putting out a lot of damage, whether that be skill power or anything else for that matter, you're just not going to have the abilities to do so with this build. You could, in exchange, run something like the Seeker Mine with Airburst or the Shock Turret, as you can just be a really big nuisance. No, your skill power is not going to be high, but neither one of these really relies too heavily on skill power. Of course, the higher the skill power is, the better the Shock Turret is, but you will still be a nuisance in PvP that will allow your other players that do a lot of damage the ability to focus fire and stuff like that. The Seeker Mine with Air Burst will catch the other players on fire, making it to where they cannot sustain fire on your allies, and the Shock Turret, of course, will lock them up, allowing for some heavy focus fire on a single target. So, that would be how you would run that build. Now, does that mean it's the best build? By no means, no. It just, the negative aspects of it are great. You're not going to be able to do a lot of damage in both PvE or PvP. It just makes you really difficult to take down. You're more going to be a status effect user and being more of a help that way than actually putting out damage. So that's that build. Now the next build we're going to take a look at is the lead assault tank. Now this tank is the guy that's going to be on the front lines doing quite a bit of damage, but at the same time able to take a tremendous amount of damage. Now, of course, you're still going to want to run stamina across the board on pretty much everything that you run. However, you can give up a little bit of stamina in exchange for firearms, and this is where the benefits are really going to show. Now, for this build, of course, you're still looking for 2 final measure, as the exotic damage resilience is needed for any tank, like I said before. If you're going to take tank seriously, you're going to want to run the exotic damage resilience. Now, as for your other 4, you have your choices between the 4 strikers or running the 4 sentries call. The benefit of the strikers is you're going to have the ability of enemy armor damage. You're also going to have increased critical hit damage by 50%, and you're going to have the ability to basically double whatever your DPS currently is. So that will help you in PvE tremendously as far as putting out a lot of damage. And you're also going to be able to combo it very effectively with an SMG, as once you have the critical hit damage of the striker added on, you use your shotgun to double your damage. Now you can swap to an SMG that's going to have your high critical hit chance, and not only double your damage, but the critical hit damage you get from the striker set is going to help you out that much more. Now, aside from that, you also have the 4 sentries call that you have to take into consideration. Now, the benefits of the Sentry's Call is you will get 30% increase to headshot damage, 20% increased damage to elites, as well as the final ability Stalker. Headshots will mark an enemy, increasing the damage you inflict on that target by 15% for a duration of 10 seconds, and a target can receive up to 3 marks. This is really good for PvP, even today. Now, of course, in Update 1.1, it was only effective for SMGs and weapons with full autos and stuff like that, because you could really stack those sentries very, very quickly. Since then, it's kind of fallen off, and a lot of people don't run it. However, it does not mean that it's obsolete. I think just a lot of people overlook the benefits of it because it is still effective on shotguns. And because shotguns shoot out a barrage of pellets, one shot pretty much guarantees all 3 marks, giving you a 45% increase to damage. Now, I know a lot of you guys are already saying, well, you know, it's technically 52%. That's besides the point. And all that means is the way it works is once it gives you the first 15% for the first shot, the second shot will count for 15% of the total damage plus the other 15% you already added. And that raises to like 33%, and then the next 15% will add on to the 33%, taking it to like 52%. I already know this. A lot of people already know that. Basically, that's what it does. It will take the 15% and increase it by the 15% that's already added to it. So rather than 45%, it's really closer to 52%. I understand that, but that's besides the point that we're looking at for this build. We're only looking at how effective it is. So will this build be effective? Probably more effective than the Striker. Now, the Striker is still effective if you're running solo or you're just a very heavy hitter, because it's going to double your damage, which is absolutely great. You're having double damage. However, that double damage only affects you and does not affect your teams. And the 30% increase to headshot damage kind of counters the 50% critical hit damage, mainly because the 50% critical hit damage is only really going to be useful for something like a sniper or an SMG or something that has a high critical hit chance. Of course, that can be comboed with vision pulls and stuff like that, but again, it's really only effective for something that has high crit chance. Whereas a shotgun, assault rifle, LMGs, stuff like that, they don't come with high crit chance. So you really kind of have to weigh that in versus the 30% headshot damage that works on all weapons. So in some cases, the 30% headshot damage will be better and will win in that fight. As for the damage to elites versus the 20% enemy armor damage, that kind of balances out. Most enemies run high armor anyway, So once, you start shooting them, you're going to do the 20% enemy armor damage, which is pretty much the same thing as 20% damage to elites. The only one that really is going to be a difference is the final talents on both of them. Of course, the striker allows you to have double damage, but it only allows you to have double damage. Whereas the sentry's call, headshots will mark the enemy, it's still effective with a shotgun, so the shotgun will still be able to mark enemies and give you that ability of 45% increase to damage with just one shotgun shell because it shoots out a barrage of pellets, instantly giving you 3 marks, and the bonus benefit of allowing all of your teammates to do 45% more damage. This is great for PvP. You simply pull out a shotgun, hit a guy in the head, and for 10 seconds you're going to be doing more damage to that guy on top of being a great tank. This is a great lead assault tank build. Probably the best lead assault tank build. As for why I matched it up with the striker set is both of them are really good. If you're running solo, you're probably going to want to stick with the striker set. However, if you're running with a team, you're probably going to want to go with that sentry's call as it will affect everyone. Now, if you already have a sentry's call on the team that's already running a shotgun, then feel free to run the striker. Both of these are really good tank builds. Now, are these both lead assault builds? In some, yes. In some ways, no. In the ways that are yes, yeah, you can put out more damage, but you're not really trying to put out damage with this. You're a tank. Your job is to catch the damage, to be a tank, and to be that supportive role. So that's why I recommend the Sentry's Call, so that you can mark the enemies, so that your teammates can do the damage, and you can effectively catch the bullets and catch the sticky bombs and stuff like that, and play your role of a tank effectively. Moving on to the last tank. This is the final tank of the video and probably the best tank I have ever seen. This is one of the strongest builds in the game. It does not evolve around weapons like the lead assault tank did. This evolves around skill power. And what I mean by that is you don't really have to run any skill power because it'll take care of itself. A lot of you guys already know this. This is the Tanktician build. Now, effectively what you need for the Tanktician is you're going to need, of course, the 2 final measures, but you're also going to combo it with 4 Tacticians, Authority, and run nothing but stamina. Don't worry about firearms at all. This is all about raising your stamina. The only thing that you're going to need is you're going to need skill power on your backpack, skill power on your face mask, and you're going to want to run armor on your chest armor, your knee pads, and your holster. Everything else pretty much take care of itself. If you're 240, you're pretty much already going to be at 75% armor mitigation. If you're not, go ahead and equip a few stamina gear mod slots that have stamina and some kind of skill power or armor on it, whatever you need to get to maximum armor mitigation. And if you want to add more skill power, go for it. You could also add skill haste, whatever that you need. Now, the benefits of the Tactician's Authority is you're going to get 20% increased skill recovery, 4,000 increase to skill power, and the ability to gradually make your skill power stronger. You don't really need to run any electronics for this because the skill power is already there. So what that will do is whatever your skill power is, which should be around 25,000 at this point, as you do damage to elites, all you need to do is simply 60,000 points worth of damage, which you will do pretty much non-stop, not only you, but all of your teammates. So while you're going through it, everyone's going to be doing a lot of damage to all these AIs, and that's going to be taking your skill power and doubling it, taking it from 25,000, which is roughly where you should be at, all the way up to 50,000, which most skills will max out anywhere from 40 to 50,000, so you don't have to worry about putting anything else there. You're going to have close to 600,000 toughness or more and already have max skill power with this build, making it to where you can run sticky bombs, shock turrets, healing effects, whatever it is that you need to run. This is one of the strongest builds in the game. It is so powerful. It is very popular. It's an amazing, amazing build. You guys should definitely check it out, if nothing else. All you have to do is run non-stop stamina and run some skill power, again, like I said, on your face mask, on your backpack, and you're going to get the 4,000 skill power from the Tactician's Authority. You are going to be insanely difficult to kill running an incredible tank and being able to put out a tremendous amount of skill power. Now, of course, that means that your abilities are limited to the effects of your skills. So if you run into another tank running the same thing, you're probably not going to be able to match them out as far as running a sticky bomb. However, you can run the vision pulse, and because your skill power is pretty much maxed out, your vision pulse is going to be able to boost your entire team tremendously. You can also put out the shock turret, where it'll make the shock turret's duration last longer, to where people are zapped a little bit longer. It is just such a good all-around amazing, amazing build. The only drawback to this build is it kind of want to be running it with a team, otherwise it'll take you quite a while to get it to the max level of the skill power. However, it is still a very effective, very powerful build, probably one of the best builds in the game. Now the next thing that we're going to look at is how to build a tank. Now when I say build, I mean I'm looking at the major attributes, the minor attributes, and the skill attributes of your armor pieces and what makes you a more effective tank. Now, starting out, regardless of which tank you chose, whether you're looking for the tank among tanks, the lead assault tanks, or the tanctician, you're mainly looking at stamina. That is your job, is to catch bullets and to be a bullet sponge. So you're going to want to run your armor, again, like I said, on your chest armor, on your knee pads, and on your holster, and you're going to want to run the skill power on your backpack and on your face mask. So regardless of which one you're looking at, they're all going to be the same when it comes to your face mask. You definitely want to run the stamina, the skill power, and that's pretty much what you're looking at. Now I know it looks kind of weird me looking at Hunter's Faith, but that doesn't matter whether it's a Hunter's Face, Mask of the Nomad, Predator's Mark, Sentry's Call, whatever it is. It doesn't matter because the attributes are pretty much all the same. So like I said before, you're going to want to run the stamina more often than not. If you're running lead assault, you can put a little bit into firearms, but you're not too worried about it because you're looking to be more of a beneficial thing to your teammates and let them deal the damage, and you just be there to catch the damage that's coming back at them. So, like I said, you're going to want to run stamina, skill power. As for your minor attributes, you have your choice between blind def resistance, scavenging, increased kill XP, enemy armor damage, burn resistant, and disorientation resistance. For this resistance, you're going to want to go with burn resistance. The other ones are kind of more of a nuisance, like the blind def resistance or the disorientation resistance. You do have enemy armor damage, which might be good for lead assaults, but for the most part, like I said, you're going to let your teammates take care of the damage and you just receive the damage. So burn resistance is probably the best thing to run for your face mask, regardless of which tank you chose. As for your skills, if you're running a lead assault tank or the tank over tanks or tank among tanks, you're going to want to go with the first aid ally heal. That will help you be a little bit more beneficial with your teammates. If you are running the skill build, you can go with the sticky bomb explosion radius, or you might go ahead and just leave on the first aid ally heal. Either one of those is fine, and that is completely up to you depending on how you guys really want to play with that. And it's not such a big deal because there's a lot of different skills that you guys can use as well, regardless of which one you're looking at. The next piece that we're going to look at is, of course, your chest piece. Now, with the chest piece, the first thing that you're going to want is armor. Like I said before, armor is a big important part of your tank, and the chest armor has the highest armor that you can get, boosting you well into the 65% pretty much by itself. And it's just such a good thing to have. So definitely put armor on the chest piece. Now, if you're running a good solid tank, you're probably going to want to go with the health on kill, as the more health you get back will always benefit that much more of you, regardless of which tank you chose to run. The health back on kill is always a good one to run, as well as another gear mod slot. Now, if you end up getting the exotic damage resilience, it's not the end of the world, but you already have 50% exotic damage resilience, so you're probably not going to need any more than that. If you feel like you do, if you just want to make yourself that much more of a tank, feel free to do so, but you're probably not going to need it. As for the protection from elites, that is another tank attribute, but again, you're going to have so much tankiness already and have so much health, plus you probably already have your health taken care of. Neither one of those, as far as exotic damage resilience or protection from elites, is really going to be needed. So I recommend running the armor, the health on kill, and a gear mod slot comboed with either stamina and armor if you need a little bit more armor, or maybe even a stamina with skill power, or anything that you guys feel like you need to make your character stronger. I will tell you, if you are going for the tancticians, you do not need any more skill power. Any more skill power than 25,000 will go to waste because most, if not all, of your skills will max out at 50,000 skill power. If you go above that, you're not really going to see any benefits of it at all, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, as for your minor attributes on the chest armor, you only really have a choice between increased kill XP and increased ammo capacity, which of course you're going to go with the increased ammo capacity unless you're leveling up in the dark zone. If you're leveling up in the dark zone, then yeah, I guess you can go with the increased kill XP. And really, it doesn't even matter. Most of you guys probably have a dummy set anyway with a really, really high ammo pickup or ammo capacity, and that's probably what you want to run anyway. So running a dummy set is probably a good idea for both your backpack and for your chest armor, because if you have a dummy set, you can just simply equip it, pick up all your ammo, combo that with the Lone Star, pick up all that ammo, end up with anywhere from 1700 to 1800 rounds, and then put back on whatever chest armor you want to run, and you have an insane amount of ammo that you can continue to run with. So you don't have to worry about either one of these really. I mean, it's just a chest armor. It's not that big of a deal. As for your skill attributes, you have your choices between ballistic shield health, first aid self heal, smart cover damage resilience, pulse duration, seeker mine explosion radius, sticky bomb damage, support station health, and turret health. If you're running the tank among tanks or the lead assault, you might want to go with the first aid self heal, as you'll be able to heal yourself a little bit more, and that will help you out as far as staying alive. However, if you're running the Tanktician, you might want to consider the sticky bomb damage, as that will help you out with putting out more damage out of your sticky bomb. Now, the next piece of armor we're going to take a look at is going to be your backpack. Now, on backpacks, you're pretty much always going to want to run the skill power, especially for tanks. The skill power is just too good to pass up. It's just so high on a backpack, and you can put your armor on your knee pads and on your holster, which why wouldn't you? And that will combo well with your chest armor that already has armor, and those three pieces with armor on them will put you very, very close to 75% armor mitigation if it doesn't already put you on 75%. And if you do need a little bit more armor, you can always get that from some gear mod slots that you can attach with some stamina to make you that much more of a tank. So you don't need to put the armor here. Here's where you're going to want to put the skill power. Now, if you're running a lead assault build, you might want to change it up for that, but you're not looking at lead assault, you're looking at tanks. We'll go over lead assault in another video later on. As for your resistance from your minor attributes, you have your choices really between burn resistance and disrupt resistance. These are the ones that are going to prevent you from using skills, especially for you tankticians. The burn resistance is also very annoying as a tank because it doesn't allow you to do anything or help your teammates out in any way. You're just pretty much sitting there on fire. So the burn resistance takes priority, but you might want to go with the disrupt resistance for those of people that hit you with a flashbang sticky bomb and it causes you to be disrupted. That'll help to get rid of that quicker or really avoid it altogether. As for the ammo capacity, you are going to want to run a dummy set backpack. Like I said with the chest armor, running a dummy set will help you out in keeping your ammo up without having to sacrifice one of these resistances. Now, as for your skill attributes, for a tank, you're probably looking for the self-heal or ally heal, something to be a little bit more beneficial to your teammates, like I said before. As for you tankticians, if you're looking to do challenge modes and stuff like that, smart cover bonuses are always good. And as a tanktician, you probably should be running some kind of smart cover, as that will again benefit all your team. Plus, the amount of skill that you're getting is going to benefit them greatly. And if you combo that with a vision pulse and a smart cover, you're going to be making it to where your lead assault players are doing a tremendous amount more and more damage. This can be used in PvP, but there are counters to both the smart cover and the vision pulse, so you might want to go ahead and put it into the sticky bomb. But that's kind of up in the air. If you run into somebody that has exotic damage resilience, regardless of your skill power, your sticky bomb isn't going to be effective, and then you might want to look more into your vision pulses and smart cover. Of course, you can always use just a simple first aid and heal your allies with that, so that might be something you want to look at as far as ally heal. But with the backpack, you're probably going to be looking more towards your vision pulse and your smart cover bonuses, as those will be effective in both PvE and PvP. And the sticky bomb bonuses are only for some greedy people that really, really, really enjoy their sticky bombs. Don't get me wrong, sticky bombs are still very effective in PvP, but you will see them being less and less effective as more and more people begin getting final measure and using the exotic damage resilience, just because they're going to get tired of being blown up by the damn sticky bombs. Moving on to the gloves are always going to be the same. I will always say that this is the best way to build them, and that is going to be with the increased critical hit damage, increased critical hit chance, and health on a kill. Regardless of what gloves you have, those are the three best. Now, some people might say they want the increased weapon damage and stuff like that. Those don't do enough. The health on kill is always going to be a benefit. The critical hit chance is always going to be great, and the critical hit damage is the highest on the gloves. Those three will always be the best for the gloves, regardless. Now, as for the tactician or the tanktician, however you want to call it, you're probably going to be looking at the sticky bomb damage or the smart cover or vision pulse increases and stuff along those lines, just like you did with the backpack. Pretty much the same thing you're going to be looking at for your gloves as far as your skill attributes. And as for you other tanks, lead assault or tank among tanks, you're probably looking for the first aid self heal again. However, running some kind of smart cover or something wouldn't be a bad idea. Either you're just not going to have the skill power to really benefit from these. So really running, status effects is more along your lines. Now you can choose to opt for some of the turret durations and stuff like that on some of these armor pieces, but for the most part, you're probably just looking to keep yourself alive and trying to be the best tank that you can. So the first aids are pretty much the way that you want to go when you're running the gloves or really any of the other ones. While you're running a tank, you want to be able to keep yourself alive so that you can be a good tank. Next one we're going to look at is the holster. Of course, you're looking for the triple stack, firearm, stamina, electronics. Why not? They're just a great combo to have. And you're looking for armor. Like I said before, you're looking for your armor on your knee pads, your holster, and your chest piece. This is another one that you're going to want to take the armor as your major attribute. As for your skill attributes, you're looking for smart cover, critical hit damage, or the sticky bomb for you tankticians. And of course, you still have the first aid ally heal for you guys that are running the lead assault tank or for the tank among tanks. That's pretty much limited to what you're going to be looking for the whole time that you're that, just because you want to give out as much health as you can given the limited amount of skill power you have. As a tanktician, you're really not going to need the first aid ally heal or the first aid self heal for that matter, just because you're going to have such high skill power. You're going to be able to heal them to full health pretty quickly anyway. So you really don't need any bonuses to that. You're mainly looking at putting out more damage and helping your team put out more damage when running the tanktician. As for your knee pads, like I said before, your major attribute, of course, is going to be your armor. That combos again with the chest armor and the holster, pushing you very, very close to 75% armor mitigation if it doesn't put you on it. And the combo with that would be a gear mod slot. It's always good to just run the armor and gear mod slot for the knee pads for pretty much every situation you're going to run into. As for your resistances or your minor attributes, you're going to be looking at your shock resistance, burn resistance, and bleed resistance. Now, I know I said it's hard to kill a tank, but the new Predator's Mark is a nightmare for tanks. It really is, regardless of what tank that you're running, because the bleed effect makes it to where you're limited on your mobility and limited on how much you can move around. And even though you are a tank that's going to be very difficult to kill, this will continue to affect you and it will drain your health. Regardless of how slowly it is, it will drain you down and you're not going to be able to get away from it. So the better your bleed resistance, the better of a chance you have against fighting a Predator's Mark. And it's always a good idea if you're running a team to have somebody with the Predator's Mark on to counter the tanks, because the constant bleed effect will tear down a tank's armor. As for your skill abilities, same thing as what I said earlier, your sticky bomb radius or your pulse critical hit damage for you tankticians, or for the first aid ally heal for you other tanks. Either way, you guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for the ultimate tank build. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope it helps you guys out in building your best tanks. As for the tank among tanks, the best tank in the game, I would have to give it to the Tanktician's Authority. It is just too good of a tank. You can still run all your tank abilities. You can still catch bullets. You can still be a tank and be out there and catch these bullets and be a good solid tank, on top of being able to have insanely high skill power. Now, if someone is running away from you, it might be a good idea to go ahead and go and kill a few more allies, and maybe they'll come back for you, say if you're going manhunt or something like that. If someone runs away from you, sometimes it's better just to let them go, because you are going to start draining down your tanktician's bonuses while you're chasing after them. So sometimes it's better just to go ahead and break off, go kill a few AIs, keep that tactician's authority at tip-top shape, so that if they ever come back, you're ready with a sticky bomb, you're ready with your vision pulse or anything like that. So remember, it's not a great solo build. If you are looking for the best solo build, I'd have to give it to the lead assault with the striker set. If you're running solo, combo that with the first aid and a seeker mine with gas charge. That's probably the best solo build. But going into the best team build, I gotta give it to the Tankticians. It's like I said before, it's just too good of a build. It's probably one of the best builds in the game. That being said, you do not want to run a full team of them, as if somebody has exotic damage resilience, your sticky bombs aren't going to do a lot, and regardless of how hard it is to kill you, you're not going to be able to deal the damage that you need to do. So having one, maybe two of these on your team at most is probably where you're going to want to go. So maybe one for medic and one for your status effects or your sticky bombs and stuff like that. That's probably what you want to limit yourself to. Running all four is effective, but you're not going to be able to do a lot as far as putting out a lot of damage. It's going to be a lot more beneficial to be a help with your vision pulse, smart cover, and stuff like that, rather than trying to run 4 sets with it. Either way, you guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said before, I hope you found it informative. And if you did, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe for more information about the division, as I cover the legitimate information about the division and none of that BS on the side. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys next time in the next video.